So I thought, because we're trying to schedule some other meeting, so I'm going to spend about half an hour, 40 minutes with you and have some interaction about an interesting area which is happening called, social media and IP. And so they say the famous line, the famous thing which you must be seeing in the television serial called Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's the famous, humor show. So I thought, whose IP is it anyway in social media? I thought I will title like that. So I'm trying to trying to understand this and research, and that is the effort I'm trying to share with you. And I'm sure this is a very interesting topic for you also to, read and understand how it is. To begin with, I want to tell, this is what we call as a monopoly. This is called monopoly. A very strict monopoly. So I would even say this is anti-social. Right? Intellectual property is a monopoly, it is anti-social. And here I am calling social media. Why the word social media? The word I say social media, I think, I can see a brightness in your face. Right? There is a very positive energy whenever I say the word social media. Because one is that it's so participative that everybody are in social media. Everybody are in social media today. Somewhere or other, some are some are drowned inside social media from morning to night, right? Some are occasionally taking a dip in social media. But social media is, suddenly you find you're connected with the world, you're connected with friends who are somewhere else. Every time you send a WhatsApp forward, what happens in your mind? Somebody, one of your relatives staying in Timbuktu or anywhere, suddenly you feel a reunion. And suddenly they send a small icon, a smile, back. The day is made. Right? You don't have to set up a meeting, go sit and talk, have a coffee, and sometimes it ends up in a fight. Right? Whereas this forward business is very easy, and every day morning says to do some forward. Right? And so it's a very joyful thing, the social media. That's an apparent thing, that everybody loves to be in social media. I see very senior persons are also now into social media. When I open that, they say, hey, I am there, available. So it's a beautiful thing. Then you got another one in real world happening called intellectual property. So how do these two things, happens, or are there issues? So let me begin by telling, I was trying to get a definition. And somebody saying, the worst thing about understanding a subject is trying to define it. Whenever you start defining something, you are closing everything. But nevertheless, we are so habituated human beings, we cannot start anything without a definition. Right? We have to define, especially lawyers. Right? All the definition has to come in the front. Then only the substance comes. So what is the definition? I was trying to this attracted me. This particular definition was attractive to me because it seems like not much of controversy. Social media are really just technologies to facilitate conversation. To facilitate. So, the word social, and then we are bringing in technology. So, you are opening IP. The moment I say technology, right? Socialization is meeting people in a function, in a marriage, in many of the things, we meet people. There's no technology involved in it. Like your famous Calcutta Addas, where you go and sit, it is like face to face. There's no technology. Here I am having an intermediary called technology. So, I am slowly getting into, I call the interface or a brush with intellectual property, because we are talking technologies. Having said this, the daily dose of oxygen today is these things, right? You are breathless otherwise. You need something, oxygen. In an aircraft they say it falls. They say that air hostess says the oxygen will fall, the mask will fall. So take the mask in the morning. Hey, as soon as you trying to get up, just the phone. Look, you get my point, something. Then little more you are, what you call us, having a cup of coffee, then we are talking about Facebook, right? And then in the daytime, in between Twitter, and then a little more relaxed evening, with a cup of, I would say a glass of orange juice, right? Or a nice glass of, what you call this, martini, right? Shaken, not stirred, right? And then you sit and watch YouTube. Longer time. So you find this daily dose of oxygen is technologies, end of the day. All these are all massive technologies. which are at the backdrop for you to do something what you call social. Having said this, the changing paradigm, when I tell about communication itself among people, first technology could be print. Printing press. That is the first technology, right? Before that, non-technical in the sense, either you send a dove, or a messenger will run like marathon, many marathons and reach a particular place and give you something. Here is the first wave of communication or print. Then radio, right? Then television, then internet. Social media is again, when I say technology, internet enabled technology or internet of things. So radio took so long to reach the first million people, much less in television and much less in internet social media. 5 years they say now, it's about estimated 7 billion population. We are talking about almost 3.5 and nearing 4 billion are connected with internet. As you said, very, very smart or just casual. Or it impacts you. You may not even open internet, but internet decides things for you on many ways. So this is a very massive, I call paradigm shift happening. These are all, I call it as acceleration. Acceleration. This is paradigm shift. And all of you know what is acceleration and paradigm shift. Acceleration with parameters, I can calculate acceleration. I can calculate the acceleration, come to a result. Paradigm shift is something, it happens, then you understand. It doesn't, you don't even plan, you don't even control, you don't much regulate, it just happens. Right? It's a paradigm shift. Right? Very easy way to remember, I always feel that I am very fond of films to easily remember legal concepts also. Right? If any villain fights the hero, it's called acceleration. If Rajinikanth fights, it's called paradigm shift. So that is how we need to remember concepts sometimes, because film is part of our life. Now, having said this, radio or television are passive technologies which broadcast or beam information and advertisement to the audience. So there is an audience and there is a technology which tells you this is what I want to tell you. Take it or leave it. Right? If you don't like the television, break it to me. But you can't do anything with that. You can't really question Arnab Goswami. Right? He will tell you. Am I right? He will tell you that's the end. Am I right? So if you don't like, throw your television from your third row. Right? This is called push technology. Agenda. There is an agenda setting role. And the agenda is given to you. So it's like we are more passive audience of listening. You may differ with it, but that's it. But I am calling internet as push and pull technology. The moment I put something, thumbs up, thumbs down, icon, comments, good, bad, ugly. You give me a point. You give me a point. Fantastic vocabulary is there if you read. The comments part. Right? It will be very lovely, diplomatic content. The comments will be very honest. My God, I will tell you. Right? So all this is called social media. So that makes social media as a very paradigm shift, technology on one side and the kind of people coming inside together and talking. So it's a jungle out there, right? And what is the rules of social media? Right? What is the social media? The word itself is social, but it could be very anti-social also. What you do inside, right? You rip apart people, make them, miserable why they are born, all sorts of things. So, interestingly, till now, social media is the holy cow, don't try to touch it. Any government anywhere trying to touch social media is doomed today, right? So, what do you do? Close your eyes, shut. That's okay. Comments part, whether it's defamatory, whether it is going to create more issues, that's again, law is really looking, I would rather say law is struggling. I always said that law and technology are very, very uneasy, co-travelers, right? As I said, that technology is the brilliance of an individual mind. Technology is a product of a brilliance of an individual mind. Law is a product of, fill up the gap, collective frustration. It is part of the collective frustration what is happening. So you really find some people want to come in, you can come and sit in. So you find this suddenly is taken us by a storm. It is there out, the reality. And there is, I told underlining, they're all technologies. Which means massive companies are sitting on it, working on it, improvising on it. You know, they're coming out with something, they're giving you the platforms. Now, I am keeping, large issues are about social media, about freedom of expression, and then, you know, what is freedom of expression, what are the limits, is there defamation, libel, all that let us leave. Let us concentrate for being a IP school to the level of IP only I am trying to concentrate. Now, what are the IPs used in social media if I say? All that IPs you know, which is existing in the real world. That is copyright, trademark, trade secret and patents. Many of these things for the other media, what I said, print, radio, television, is very clear ownership definition. There is a company which starts this television station. There is a print media which you are registered with the government of India. There is a newspaper registered society, all that stuff. And then if you are talking radio, till today you cannot have your radio license has to be given. So a very clear ownership pattern I can pin down, and so for law it's very easy to, you know, catch it or to regulate you. Social media on the other side, who is the owner? Everybody are. Each one of you is a, what you call as, journalist. Each one of you are a writer. Each one of you are an opinion maker. So it's, if at all handful of people I can regulate. But if it is, you know, if it is going to be, you know what you call as, so if it is going to be, you know, a massive number of people, how are you going to regulate? That is what, see, let him, he wants to watch, he wants to let him watch. You know, he can watch rather than seeing the reaction on the face. So, we are talking all these areas where in the real world. And in the virtual world, what I am trying to put across, how does it operate? For example, end of the day, whenever it's a social media, end of the day, what is it? It's a content. In the social media, what you are putting is a content. And there can be two types of contents you deal with social media. One is user-generated content. I, as a person, you know, I generate something. Another one is the content which you forward. And if I ask you, where do you get this from? You really don't know. Somebody sent you. You ask somebody sent you. You know, they get my point. It's very interesting. Sometimes, even if you create a new thing and put it, after some time it comes to you back. There is no point. And somebody has sent you, somebody has sent you. And there is a huge world there. For people who forward, there are a lot of likes. A great man, you know, I didn't do anything. Somebody gave me, there's a small, you know, push I did, arrow, gone, right? I said, excellent, keep it up. All that, you know, within the group, you know, there is no point. Or probably there's a feeling that you only created it. You didn't create it. Somebody else created, you are forwarding. So, see, if I put it, what I put in the slides is this, as I said, user-generated content. That is your rights. User-posted content, it is others' rights. But the confusion is, we don't know what is others' rights, and all of you know the basics of copyright. Communication to the public without licensing, without authorization is an infringement. So now when I put it to social media, can you communicate a picture? Can you communicate, even today, the whole judgment on Sashikala, about 540 pages, I got it, 11:30 was the judgment. You won't believe, 11:30 was the judgment. Okay? I was in a class, I came, rushed, and then opened my internet to see what it is. You know? I said, judges. Then I opened my WhatsApp. 540 pages. The PDF file has come into my WhatsApp already. So tomorrow it could be anything coming into your compressed and it's come already. So the point, of course, judgment is no issue. It is what you call it may not have a copyright issue because it's in the public domain, it should be shared. But if it is some other content, then what happens? That is the question under copyright. So there are two issues here. One, you are the user. Another one, there is platforms. Right? There are platforms and there are technology companies, and they know to, you know what you call as, indemnify themselves. They know to indemnify themselves for any IP, right? They leave it to the user. So they operate on a social, what I call a safe harbor provision. Whereas it is the user who is part of that. And as I said, as you say that one other thing is that copyright or any of this IP, many don't have awareness, except for law people talk about this, or to some extent affected party, you generally ask, they don't understand. They think it's a joy. Sharing a movie is a joy. Sharing a song is a joy. You know, what is this law doing in between? Right? This sometimes I see judges asking. Right? It's wrong, yeah. Everybody has a joy. So the problem is, I also believe everybody should enjoy everything. But the problem is that if I create without no cost, I can enjoy everything. If I put in cost, then what I call as, I don't want to go bankrupt. That is the whole way this thing operates. So somebody is creating, and when you are forwarding, it is no cost for you. You simply forward it. And it just, as you said, whether you do anything in your life every day which you have to do, whether you brush your teeth or anything, this forward business is, what you call as, it goes in a lightning way, the whole thing, which means millions get it in no time about the whole thing. So it's not once, you might be a million times it might be coming under infringement in the day. So let us see what happens. How these two rights are treated by the media itself. Because at the end of the day, you are not me. I don't know. Many of you must be in Twitter. But I'm sure that we don't have the time and patience to read what is the Twitter policy. Right? The Twitter policy is there. So what is the Twitter policy? It says you retain your rights of any content you submit. You post or display through services. What? Yours is yours. It's a great, what you call this? A great socialist concept by Twitter. Yours is yours. You own your own content, and your photos and videos are part of the content. This is what Twitter says in its policy document. And then says, but next part it says, by submitting, posting, displaying content, you grant us a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free license with the rights of license to use, copy, reproduce, process, adapt, modify, publish, transmit, display, distribute such content, any or media distribution rights. Now known or later developed. Futurology, right? So they are very, very smart when they are putting it. So you tell me, one is that it is yours is yours. Okay? But once you give it to me, it is mine. It's just, whether they do or think, it is mine. That's the reasoning. Because end of the day, Twitter is nothing but to retweet. Twitter is to be preserved. Who wants Twitter? It has to be retweeted because again the basic purpose of social media is to communicate and as fast as possible to people whom you knew, whatever it is. So that's what I said. Intellectual property is operating on a paradigm. This one is operating on a different paradigm. You get my point? So you see fundamentally these two, the social media is for everything for everyone. Okay? Intellectual property is fixed. It is to the creator or to the owner of something. So how this resolution, will happen if in case laws, that is going to, see, these two are, they're talking different language altogether. Now, having said this, just to give you an example of Facebook, you own all the content information you post on Facebook. Only thing, Zuckerberg is little more flexible with you. He says you can control, it is shared through your privacy application setting. But again, content that is covered by intellectual property like photos, videos, you specifically give us the following permissions. Subject to your privacy application, you grant us a non-exclusive transferable supply suitable royalty, blah, blah, blah. Right? I don't know, the same lawyer drafted this both. Right? So you have the second point. Third point, WhatsApp, that is the latest. Till now, I don't know what's going to happen next. WhatsApp does not claim ownership of the information that you submit for your content, WhatsApp account or to our services. You must have the necessary rights to such information that you submit for, and WhatsApp account or through services and the right to grant the rights in our terms. So they say that it's your problem. Whether you are committing something or not committing something, you are only giving a platform, and the platform is supposed to use legitimate content. That is the whole meaning. So they are out of this. In any of this case, of course, they may be called, some complaints on someone, they will go and tell, and you have signed this. Whenever you enter, what you call us, the biggest hurry we have is to tick and we don't want to read any of these things. Right? Tick, agree, and then what you call later on the issues are different. Now, having said this, the next, as I said, others' rights I am talking now. It is not your generated content. What is that? Twitter respects the IP rights of others expects user services to do the same. Will respond to the notices of alleged copyright infringement that comply with applicable law and are properly provided. We reserve the right to remove the content alleged to be infringing without prior notice at our sole discretion. So they're telling due diligence, if something comes to us, we will not be holding any big inquiry with you, we will be removing that at our discretion if we find reason. Similar one, Facebook. It talks about removing any content or information you post on Facebook and believes that it violates the statement. We will provide you with tools to help you protect your IP, to learn more, visit. So, end of the day, what I am trying to drive is a strong IP message and process in the technology side of social media. On the social side of the social media, we are thinking we are Alice in Wonderland. It's a beautiful, lovely world and what is happening. So when that strikes, then you will find it that, what we call ignorance of law is going to be no excuse in any of these things. Whether they will do, whether they will promote, because one of the interesting part is that even though they are part of IT world, these are all disruptive technologies. They are hitting at their own technology side itself. There is the old guard technology and the new guard technology which are coming. The new guard technologies are highly disruptive. And one such thing is called, the one which started the whole game was YouTube. Right? Which started the whole disruption was, or the challenge for the copyright was YouTube itself. So, YouTube really talks that fair use, fair dealing, you have to see, or which means every social media user, in my opinion, should know the basics of IP now. Because this is where the background lies. In the front, we say that we have no clue. Many of the people you ask, non-IP or non-law people, everybody are doing it. Everybody are doing it. That is the case. For example, one other question which came was, who is liable in a WhatsApp message? Not just IP alone, even if it is defamatory or anything. The group administrator. You give me a point. So I was a group administrator for a couple of WhatsApp. One was my family group, in the sense they are scattered. Since I was the eldest, I still have some respect among them. Right? The other group I started was some ragtag, Then when the Tamil Nadu government, when Jayalalitha was hospitalized, you saw all kinds of messages flowing around. They give me a point. Some are rumors, some are this. Then the cops started, they can come to me where it starts. And not I'm scared of cops, I'm a law professor also. I'm supposed to be teaching IP also. They give me a point, whether I believe it or not. The point what I'm trying to put across was, so I immediately told my family group, they're strict, no more Jayalalitha news, I said. With grudgingly they said. But the ragtag did not bother me. Then I resigned as administrator. Because I didn't want something to come and I answer. Because see, look, a newspaper would now the law professor being questioned. Right? Am I right? A technology professor, they say, hey, he doesn't know law. Remember, here I can't say it. Right? So you really find when it strikes what you really know, what is obscene, what is defamatory, what is many things, seems to be very interestingly in social media. Of course, it's very difficult to control at a massive level. But if somebody selects and picks and chooses, definitely it's going to be an issue which, as I said, I'm only putting how this is emerging into a new area of analysis nowadays. So, in a nutshell, the content in social media is governed by the copyright of the land. Fair use to be the only legal cover. Right? This is how the fair use, which you know in copyright, which will be the only better way to deal with that. This one I wanted to tell you, how many of you know about this case? Not a case exactly. This is the Oscar selfies problem which came. What is this? Again, when I say social media, this is driven by social media, is called the new thing, called selfie. Am I right? Selfie is the, what you call as new buzzword. And what is happening here? These are very famous characters. Oscar characters, including Brad Pitt. Now, it is her phone, Helen's phone. She's trying to take a selfie and she's not able to cover everyone. She's more or less positioned, but she's at the back. And she doesn't have a long arm. This guy had a long arm. So he clicked it. Okay? And then it's a big picture. Big time picture in Oscar. Then immediately Associated Press, which distributes the pictures all over the world, you know, as a distributor, they took the permission from the Oscar, you know, what you call this, committee, general permission to distribute it. Now, the question which was raised was, who owns the copyright? Whether she is the author, because the phone belonged to her, she did all the setting, but actually it was clicked by, right? Clicking the author or the one who set that author, and most importantly, is the Oscar committee is the owner, because all this is happening in Oscar awards, which means they are all hired by, you know, Oscar committee to do this function. So as a person who is hiring, do I want copyright? And then the question came whether Associated Press, you know, has put it the Twitter and then everything was retweeted. They took permission. Others who retweeted did not take permission. So this question was a big analysis. Of course, it's not a case anybody filed. So people were, you know, what you call this, as I said, you know, this is a photograph of Ellen, Bradley Cooper, Meryl Streep, Kevin Spacey, all big names. And then, which means worldwide they're going to watch this. And then they said, as I said, it was tweeted by Ellen, actually clicked by Bradley Cooper, but positioned by Ellen, the camera and everything. So there's a tremendous issue about Associated Press later took the permission to tweet the image which went viral. So they started analyzing if there is a copyright case here, who's that? So here is a moot problem for you, right? There's not a case, it's a moot problem for you. So, are the selfies copyrightable? That's what the whole case. Ellen was hired by the all the questions I told. Now, having said this, trademarks, if I really look at it, parody, impersonation, cyber squatting, and trademark infringement. These could be the issues in social media. You know, is it a parody or not? Probably if it's a parody, you may use trademark law and get away with that, right? If it is impersonation, you know, you're taking, you know, somebody's name to put it, right? And then what happens? Or you take famous names to put it, cyber squatting. So this could happen because Twitter handles taken by somebody else's name. Same thing happening in social media where the real world trademark happening. So all these issues are pertinent inside social media also. They will use the traditional trademark jurisprudence to decide about what is happening in the social media. For example, parody. Even Twitter has a policy. It says Twitter users are allowed to create parody, commentary or fan accounts. Twitter provides a platform for us to share, receive a wide range of ideas and content. Because of these principles, we do not actively monitor user content and will not edit or remove user content except in cases of violations of our terms and services. So they say that they are keeping safe. Let me tell you, the big tech platforms are very safe about where could be the IP issue. Impersonation policy. Impersonation pretending to be another person, entity, Twitter has given its policy, they will remove the account. Cyber squatting. If you select the username for your account, we reserve the right to remove or reclaim if it is appropriate, such as when a trademark owner complains about the username that does not closely relate to the user's actual name. So they are, I would say, more than case laws as such coming, they are preempting everything, and they are trying to say, because remember, all of these are billion-dollar companies, you know, right? And they can be pulled anywhere in the world. They are global presence, which means a small district court in Orissa, they will pull them. I was asking the Facebook lawyer where all, he said I was in this district, that district. I thought you're Facebook, I thought you're going to New York and London. No, these are the districts where they're calling us. You know, for some violation, something, they're at least I have to go up here and come. Right? So this is how he was telling about his work. So this is name spotting. So this, I just skipped two of this. So trade secret, this is another part. One of the exciting thing about WhatsApp is that you come out of the lab, you did something, and then immediately you do a blog. You do a thing and tell that, oh, great, today this experiment succeeded. You know what I did? The chairman would have had a heart attack because he's keeping all these things inside. The rival doesn't know. Because it's social, you are stressed out. And you come and do, you must have seen these doctors doing selfie with the patient or not. Somebody is going to be operated to give him one. And this patient, you know, what do you call it? That now it's coming to code of ethics. Whether the doctors can, you know, with dead body they are doing, you know, in mortuary before the postmortem they are doing something. They may say they are stressed out. But you know what happens to people who are watching? You're going to laugh about a dead body, or you're going to be solemnly looking at something. So these are all that's what I said. Social media seems to have taken everything by storm. So sharing on Facebook, posting anything, any tweet on ongoing project could land you in a serious suit. And then patents, even disclosure is a prior art. So if you do disclose anything in social media, and that is also considered as prior art because it is a publication. Remember, it's a digital publication, and many are stored in iCloud. I can always bring it back and show, right, that this is the evidence. So patents could also be a major issue. And as I said, if I want to wind up to give you, as I said, that I'm only telling about observations, what I'm going through and looking at and how it will play out in the future. As I said, IP in social media and its implication should be part of an institutional IP policy. Right? If that's what Professor Makila, and our MHRD professor here, that Kharagpur, that's the most, active social media actors, right? Like every institute, not only that, but and you know what happens? Whether you are aware of this, that what is the social media, and then whether this IP will hit back. It will never figure in a traditional institutional IP policy. It's fun, but it's not fun. This could have implications. Sometimes harassment, sometimes may not be genuine, but when you are pulled into a case, you have to go appeal. Right? When you come out of that, it's next part of the story. As I said that, if you are arrested, it's front page. If you are released in the 8th page, you get the point. Nobody bothers the 8th page. First page only they will look at it. And because the brand like IIT Kharagpur, that comes very big. You get my point. A smaller one, what you call as escapes. You get my point. So this is some of the issue. So it requires, in this case, it could be students, it could be employees, to be aware of the IP issues in social media. It requires an institutional strategy to handle IP in the imploding world of, social media. And the last but not the least, which I want to tell, so far, PETA, PETA? People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. In Jallikattu issue, the ongoing, they want to ban PETA and all that stuff. So PETA has been very aggressively promoting animal rights. And what is the connection of PETA and IP? Intellectual property. PETA wanted to expand this to animals also. Intellectual property. You won't believe. In the case in California, in the Bay Area court, the case was this. There is one picture I'll tell you to close. The Indonesian Macau, the British wildlife photographer throws the camera, leaves it, he takes a selfie about himself. And then the case in the California Bay Area court was, who owns that? PETA appeared for him. Honestly, they said all royalty should go to the upkeep of this Indonesian Macau, which are under tract. Where the photographer is arguing is, fine. Now the question is, what does it mean? Camera is yours. But who did this? Who did this? How can it belong to another person? Was the question. So the court finally decided time has not come to expand it to still with humans. Still, it is the latest generation, not the ancestors. Right? It's an ancestor. Right? So he is asking whose IP is it anyway? Thank you. I said, since I'm traveling and a little time extra, I thought I will just meet, what do you call this? You all, I arranged something half an hour quickly. That's why I thought I will, this is just ongoing, I've been building on this, what to do or how it is turning out in different parts. This could be a very interesting area for all of you to, some of you to work on this. So that is the reason. So I wouldn't call this as a very, what I call as organized lecture or anything. I thought I'll put some of my views on that and put across. So if you have some comments, if you have something, you can spend, we have some 10 minutes, yeah, sure. 5 minutes or so we can spend and interact. If you have some comments, it's not necessarily, I'm capable of answering questions on all these subjects, but Ramakrishna can help me on some. Yes.
So, in Tamil Nadu, the Jayalalitha's, during the elections, the decriminalization of Jayalalitha, the politician should be decriminalized or they should give the status of how many times they went to the jail and all.
How many times?
How many times, how much term they have enjoyed in the jail and all. They should give in the details in the nomination.
Okay.
So in that verdict, some democratic reforms has filed a case. For that, in Jayalalitha's case, I think the court has given the verdict right to be forgotten. A new right is being given to the Google search. A search engine also has to forget the memories within every 5 years. So whether we can extend it to social media, that is what my question is.
Whether it has to be forgotten.
The right to be forgotten by Google search can be extended to social media as well.
Well, the point, that's what I said. You can come out with, if you're a keen advocate for social media as a thing to spread, you can tell that right to be forgotten. But the point here is that the other case in this case is about intellectual property, where I'm talking return on investments, etc. See, any other issue, like we all forget many things which happens to us, or we forget and what you call us, move along in life. But this is about real-time money. So the advocates are not going to be so amused that it should be forgotten. I'm talking IP.
Yes.
Any other issue about social media? Yes, you can have different levels of what you call as understanding. For example, what is a defamation, or what is an acceptable thing, or what is obscenity could lead to what you call as many different things. It's changing with times. But intellectual property, only thing surely the numbers are so high. Whom do I catch? Whom do I do? I just close my eyes. That's all they do. But what happens? Individually, I will not catch. But institutionally, I do something on a company or something. Or sometimes it's not others' IP. You are part of the company and then you are letting out something. This is the caution I said about. The platform called social media. Yes, obviously, it's the greatest thing which came. I think I consider the last couple of years. Thanks to WhatsApp and other things, I thought the humor quotient among human beings is very great. It's very great, right? The way everything very immediately, the creativity is so abundant when you see, right? Only the problem is that always humor on your own cost is always difficult to digest, right? It's easy to accept for other humor on somebody else, not on yourself. But there the anger of defamation, all that will come. But our intellectual property, they will be, as you said, they may also be watching what's happening. The social media, how to proceed, what to do. But I'm only telling that it is going to be part of that beyond a boundary. Beyond a boundary. Humor itself is a fair deal. Fair deal, everything is fair deal. So all the jokes, deeds, etc., there's no issue. Tomorrow I'm uploading songs, which I'm doing in YouTube is doing. YouTube is a little more elaborate setup. I have to do this. WhatsApp is very easy to, easily to accessible. Then songs. Then what happens? Should I keep quiet? Should I only punish people in the real thing, not in the social media thing? Should I say imprisonment is here only, not here? I may be helpless to do something, or I may not choose strategically wasting time on that or leave it. But nevertheless, the question has to be answered if somebody asks. If IP is here, IP has to be here. And this is money. We are really talking. In other things, okay, the forgotten thing can be, you get my point. I don't know whether are you telling that after 5 years or so, Rahul Gandhi will be forgotten?
The search has to forget certain incidents.
No, what I said is, after 5 years will Rahul Gandhi be forgotten because Modi says that Google is the most. Anyway, so what I say, that could be an argument. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to argue that way, they are going to argue about IP and its immediate loss. So maybe the parameters of IP is, as I said, if they are the IP protagonists are telling, they are putting in money, we want the return on investment, and that's what monopoly right, gives us. As simple as that. So what is the alternate? People are talking alternate IP is also telling different forms. Price money, this money. Again, it revolves around, money part. That you cannot take it away. So IP is not about charitable thing. You get my point. Unless the creator wants to give away. Unless the creator wants to give it away to everybody, this is the case.
So I'm just curious to ask, based on what legal principle the terms and conditions of social media is drafted? for example, it is something very similar to a situation that you are agreeing to give a knife to someone, and that person is like, if you give knife to me, I will kill you. So I don't find that there is actually a legal principle that backing the terms and conditions of the social media, because IP is antisocial in nature, and social media, you are publishing your content, and when you just give a permission to a social media, they can just do whatever they want. That is something like you're not even recognizing the creator's right. It's like conflicting. So I'm just curious, like based on what legal principle it is wrong.
Yeah, that's right. First of all, the word social media is not a legal term as such. It's a practice term. Especially we talk social media from the inception of Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, all that stuff. These are the one we call social media. Internet itself, we never said social media as such, because there is a specific ID, etc. These are the social media, we say, because of the enormity which everybody can participate in that and the ease of participating. Then, question what I said was, some of the technology platforms which are involved in this are also part of a strong IP advocacy. They are also filing patents, they are also filing, quite a lot of patents are being filed by them also, right? And copyrights are being done. So what they are talking, two levels is, they are telling that the responsibility is yours. If there is somebody suing you, it is up to you to go argue and get out of it. That is one. The second one they are telling, what you are giving is, kind of a license, etc. You are signing, you are accepting and signing, right? If you are asking how they can do what, etc., well, you can be opt out of that. You can opt out of it, or can you bring in some kind of, direction in a code that they should not have such license term, etc. And obviously, what you call us, for that matter, entire IP has its own foundation, which is justifying monopoly, right? So there is no question of you arguing against that foundation. So these people are telling that you are giving all the rights to us. Whether I will do something or not, you are already given the rights to us. What? So if you just say you don't want, you'll be out of it. You're out of it. And one more thing you see, all of them are fundamentally non-paid services. And that is a big difficulty. Paid services, there is a two-way process. Like a consumer asking certain deliverables, you giving. If it's free, unless it's bodily harms, then you can stop something free. This is free, that's what I said. Free in a company, they insist you to use the company mail. They disable your personal mails in many other companies, especially R&D. They remove your personal mail. Because in personal mail, one, they cannot find out. It's difficult for them to get in. Or even if they get in, it will be a breach. It will be a privacy issue. It's like hacking. But company mail, you are using, it's my company mail. That's what I tell some young people, in companies, don't write the romantic letters in company mail. Because the first guy is the IT guy who will watch it. And I'm telling you, he is the first one going to read. Not your boyfriend or your girlfriend. And I'll tell you, it's great between two people, it's hilarious for the third party. So, because they will open all mails. Because they say that, then you question, how did you, they'll ask you, are you paid to do this? In the office hours? In the office infrastructure? You are writing this? So not only I will see, I will now tell, why can't I reduce your pay? Because you are not working here, in this manner. So it is their property, their mail ID. They disable all the remaining, In a sense, when you really look at it, Gmail, all of them. See, for popularity's sake, etc., they are putting some policies, trying to be nice. But at the end of the day, they are giving you free. Get my point? You can't really ask certain services. You can't really ask certain quality of service. That you can do when you're paying. When I pay for something, I can do. Only payment you do is for higher storage, that's all. For higher storage, you're paying. But that is very limited. But otherwise, the basic service is free to you from Gmail or many of these mail people. It is free to you. It's not even a subscription. So the question, how do we argue? That is the question. It is going to be difficult.
So like if an advertisement on social media is infringing someone's IP.
Please?
Advertisement on social media. I'm paying for that also. Then I'm infringing them.
Advertisement on social media. You are telling affecting whom?
I'm infringing someone's IP because of
Yes, yes, yes. That's what I said.
Yes, and-
If you are violating IP of someone in advertisement in social media, or in other words, I tell, the interpretation from IP side is that the medium changes. The foundation of IP is not changing. In the print we had IP, in television we had an IP, in internet we are having an IP. Get my point. All will be applicable across current medium or future medium. Because this is like what brings you. So, social media advertisement is subject to all kinds of real media issues.
Here we are paying to push social media solution.
That question is always, see, non-commercial is one aspect under fair dealing. But fair dealing is not just because non-commercial, it becomes fair dealing. Are you getting my point? You know the other context. What they say is that you have to always look at fair dealing and at the impact. They say from the shoulders of the owner of the property, not from your perspective. Because, like in your perspective, everything will be justified. In my perspective, I can take your first distribute to everyone. I don't have any commercial motive. I can take your purse, distribute your cash to everyone here. I don't have any commercial motive. But the problem is with your purse. So, you will definitely the loss is mine. I didn't make any profit, that's okay. So, even if you are putting it free, all these issues will pop up as it expands. So far, it is more human, which is moving. You have something?
Sir, according to section 31C of Copyright Act,
Please.
31C of Copyright Act,
Okay.
which tells about you have to take permission before making covers and you have to give royalty of 50,000 copies. And as we see in YouTube that after the song video gets released, everyone starts making cover of that. And even the owner, they don't oppose to that. So do you think the law is obsolete now?
Law is obsolete. I wouldn't call law as obsolete. The tussle of what I call encirclement of IP on other issues and trying to free is being played out. You get my point? But I would say progressively the law has only become tougher. It has not retreated. Because real world also you really find more and more technologies, more and more privatization is the norm. You will feel, legislative or legislation making is going to have more influence from, private entities. So private entities are going to dictate terms. You see that in the United States, Secretary of State was an ex-CEO of Exxon. You would have never heard that in US all these days. You can see the trend, in one sense. Am I right? So I would say that it's not obsolete, as I said. It is done some balancing act, but I would say that more push and pressure is coming from the owners regularly. They are not happy or satisfied. They want to expand it more and more. And of course, there are some feeble attempts to, try to restore the balance or, trying to do, etc., etc. Do you get my point? And so if you are supporting heavier and heavier, you will be getting sponsorship to many conferences, right? If you are trying to open, your conference level and your gathering level becomes smaller in one sense. Right? We'll take one more question.
Another thing was in the world of Internet of Things. Suppose it is artificial intelligence is growing rapidly by the day, and some music has been created by the artificial intelligence. So ownership.
Yeah, there are. Of course, I am not bringing it into social media. As you said that these are the new emerging issues that if a robot paints, who owns that? What way the robot creator will own it, others will own it. So it's one thing. It's exciting times for lawyers, right? Because any of these things to sort out, you need two lawyers. Am I right? And what will be the outcome? They say only certainty about law is the fee of the lawyer. So that way what I'm telling, be familiar with new guard things so that you're going to have more exciting practice than me and Professor Ramakrishna at the age where we would have gone with OHPs. I call it. At that time, as you said, IP was, people don't want it. In 90s, people don't want IP classes or there's no practice. When there's no practice, why you read that? At that time, we'll read, they said. Even first time I was given a project in IP by my ex-director Mitra, I thought it's punishment posting. They say, they'll put you now in He'll be housing board director, one IGP. Nobody except one. So he told me, do this. I said, sir, I said, constitutional law. He said, do this. He said, I thought he's putting me. Maybe you're slightly lucky, it's emerged differently. Much to the chagrin of constitutional law professors or other professors, say, where you're going every time. So what I'm trying to tell, but the point what I'm trying to tell that fundamentally this IPG is going to roll out in new things. So it's going to be, one way I also consider, I'm not getting into an ideological battle of IP should be there or not. I'm also looking at a very exciting way of understanding this. A new thought process can come, as you said, just pointing out, for example, he says, should have IQ, it's a forgotten, new principles can be brought. But at the end of the day, what? Something has to stabilize logically, yes. Professor Matula, we have to go now.
So about collaborative creative works which are created entirely in social media. Like you have people posting one after the other and they have a goal which will not be very useful if it's just one person's name. It's all of them together. These people usually end up being from different corners of the world with different ideas and different areas.
100%.
So if that's the case, then what happens? Who gets the ownership?
You're telling about the collective, like I post a picture and then you create a meme about it or that it keeps on going. Yes, that could be one area.
I'm thinking more along the lines of something which is more coherent creative work, like a story. Someone starts part of a story, someone else continues it, and goes on until the entire thing is, it happens in social media.
Yeah. The pre-runner was all your transmission on this. So this is happening. What I am trying to tell is what I am telling. Point one, other IP issues in social media. The answer is from the recovery, yes. Is it, it's going to be bad or good? Creative interpretation. How do you do what you do, how you are doing? And what I was also putting it from an institutional point of view, one thing, last thing they want is a case study. And they are made to be their supplier. So they would like to do. Then again, as you said, when I say institutional policy, I'm not telling you, controlling you to be in social media. Whereas institution is concerned, those issues. If it's personal media, what you do, etc., is your responsibility. Whereas an institutional thing, if something is posted, or something especially relating to trade secrets, or patents, or copyright issues, will be only the basic level for a policy to be understood. The remaining, the individuals also can fight what they want to do.
So can the platform actually take ownership of something generated like this because it was generated because of the platform?
Well, they don't know yours is yours. They have clearly put yours is yours. Remember, and one more thing I'll tell you. This pittance they don't want. They have a massive platform where everybody has sucked in. So they are making their money from that point. So this, for them, this is spillover. They don't want anything. They say keep it yourself. But we operate as a technology. And then for the technology to operate, they have the IP at the back. Right? For that program to be developed, there is a copyright. There could be issues of, some places it could be patented in some regimes, especially United States is more liberal. So they might have created patents at the back of Facebook. Facebook has a portfolio of patents. And many of them are patents. So it is like, it's a massive global game. You take this code, there could not have been any other company or any other process which would have touched every country. It is like, it's fundamental right. This is a fundamental right. You cannot deprive me of that. Because this is like, it's part of your life. And that's what I said. So look at this transformation of these companies. And so they will be definitely, they will be more friendly with the public at large because they are the ones who are partners in that. But at the same time, they are also in the other world called creating this technology, they are part of the IP world. So they are protecting them and they are also indemnifying that this space belongs to you. I am not coming back. So I think we may have to, we need some small meeting in order to do this. So if there are, of course you have some interesting questions. So I only wish that to people explore this new avenues of intellectual property, what's happening, especially on internet and social media, because the traditional areas of patents in terms of pharma biotech is quite intensive, right? Whereas these ones are flourishing. So thank you very much for the opportunity to all. Thank you.